Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians. When we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're breaking down IGN's top 10 list of the best open world games.
So IGN has recently, I think pretty recently, within like the last couple days.
Yeah, last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, they put out a list of the top 10 open world games. So anytime you make a top 10 list, obviously it's very subjective. But still, this is a big publication. So why not kind of give our 2 cents on what they picked, say if we agree with it, if we disagree, all the things, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were even, putting the gig in Gaming Gig. We've been doing that for the past couple days. And during one of the set breaks, I saw this list and we talked about it. So, yeah, it's kind of been on our minds. And we know that open world games are kind of hot right now.
We're both playing an open world game.
Yeah, different open world games, as a matter of fact.
And I don't want to give any spoilers, but they're both on this list.
Yeah, so, it just made a lot of sense.
It did. So, number 10 is Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Let me just stumble through that for
Marvel's
you guys.
Morales Spider Miles.
So, Miles Morales is a really great game. I love this game. Do I think it deserves to be on the top 10? I think I would argue that one of the Spider-Man games deserves to be on the top 10. Now, personally, I like the original Spider-Man game a little bit better than Miles Morales. Mm-hmm. But that being said, they're really similar games. So I like the original one just a little bit more. And mostly it comes down to the original one was beefier, had more to do. Miles Morales was a pretty short game. Miles Morales had a lot of emphasis on stealth, which is cool, but it was probably my least favorite part of the combat in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I much prefer just to go in and
webs ablazing.
Yeah. I preferred to be more aggressive, and Miles Morales had a lot of stealth stuff. So for those reasons, I like the original one just a little bit better, but I have to say Miles Morales was very impressive in terms of its visuals. I played it with ray tracing. It looked awesome.
I bet it did.
So you've not played Miles Morales?
No, I haven't played Miles Morales. I played the original Marvel Spider-Man. Didn't play it all the way through. I kind of got bored on it. But I loved the gameplay. Just swinging around the city, that was super, super fun. So I can see how one of those games would make the list. And I'm sure Miles Morales expanded on some of that. But I also am sure it's more the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Now, Spider-Man wouldn't be on your top 10 list, but
no, I don't think it would be on my top 10.
But you understand why other people.
Yeah, I mean it's a super fun game, and I've always loved Spider-Man as a character.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember playing those PS2 games, back in the day, and thinking those were awesome. So yeah, I can see this.
You can say, yeah, I'm not upset with Miles Morales being on there at all. I think it's a great game.
Yeah.
So number 9.
Yeah, so up next at number 9, we got Horizon Forbidden West. Now, I haven't played this. It's hot off the press.
Yeah, it's a game that just came out, so I'm really surprised to see it on the list of top 10 of... This is a top 10 of all time. So.
Yeah, I think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse here, IGN.
This is the game I'm currently playing, is Horizon Forbidden West. And I have to say, it is a very good game. Visually, it's maybe one of the most impressive games I've played, period. It's... the combat is fun. It definitely is better than Zero Dawn. So if you liked Zero Dawn, it's better. It's basically just been improved in pretty much every way you could imagine.
Nice.
The story in Zero Dawn was good, but I think they really put some interesting twists and because I was kind of wondering how they'd even make Forbidden West interesting in terms of story, but they've really done a great job with it. So I really am enjoying Forbidden West. That being said, I'm surprised to see it on the top 10 list, not because it's not a great game. I just don't know that, even though it's a really good one, I think there are still, I don't know, because it's just not tested yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
You really can't tell when you're playing it, how much it's going to affect you down the road. You have to give some distance from it and really decide, was it as groundbreaking and did it stand the test of time? And that's just something we don't know about Forbidden West.
Yeah, I mean, we're still definitely in the honeymoon phase.
Right,
with
exactly.
Forbidden West. It's you might love it right now.
Right.
And then in a week or two, you might be completely bored with it. Who knows? I mean, we just don't know yet. So,
yeah.
not to say that it can't be awesome and not that it can't eventually deserve a top 10 spot. It's just kind of weird that it's already there.
This is what's strange to me. It's just strange that it's on the list just because it's so new. I could see a future in which, it probably deserves to be there, but I could also see a future in which we decide that as a kind of a gaming community that it wasn't as, groundbreaking as we thought at the time.
Right.
And the same thing holds true to maybe the other game that is current on some other games on this list.
Yeah. Hashtag teaser.
All right, so number 8 is this is a game that I have in my backlog. It's sitting there. It's actually coming up soon. I'm going to be playing it. It's Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Yeah, this is the only game on the list that we haven't collectively played.
No, we have not played this one at all. So I don't know much about it, but I do know that people love this game, and it apparently does open world in a really interesting way. I can't speak about it a whole lot because I just haven't played it.
No, I don't have very much experience with Metal Gear Solid in any capacity.
Me neither, but I kept hearing such good things about this game, and it's an older game now.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing about how amazing it was, so I picked it up and I'm going to play it. And I'm very excited about it because apparently it is quite good.
Yeah.
And if it's on this list, it just gives me more reason that I made a good decision purchasing it because I'm excited to play it. And I bought it on Amazon for like $10 new.
Goodbye.
I mean, come on,
it's a steal. You stole from Amazon. So guys, moving on at number 7, we have Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and this one's very near and dear to my heart. In fact, I made a video this week for the channel where it was pretty much half about Skyrim, comparing it to maybe another game we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But I love Skyrim. I got it at the midnight release. I remember we were in college and we had finished a concert, actually. And I went after the concert, stood in line at the GameStop, got it at the midnight release, went home and played it. That game was great. I loved like Oblivion, and I loved the Fallouts. I don't really remember the timetable. Yeah. Anyway, I loved Fallout 3. I love Fallout New Vegas. So all those Bethesda RPGs, I just love them.
Yeah, and I came to Skyrim really late.
You did. You were late to the game on that one.
I played Skyrim just a couple years ago, and I played it. Oddly enough, I played it in VR. I bought a PlayStation VR headset, and it came with Skyrim VR. And it's not like it was Skyrim that also had a VR mode. It was you could only play it in VR.
You really wanted to feel like the Dragonborn.
Yeah. Now that being said, I have a copy of Skyrim on Xbox 360, and I had started it back much closer, probably within the first year or two of it coming out. I started it, probably played a few hours of it, and then put it down. It was just too much of a commitment at the time.
Yeah.
And so it took me forever to come back to it. When I did come back to it, I was really excited about my new VR headset. So Skyrim's not a short game. And playing that game in VR, it was cool, but
I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was cool. It was cool, but it probably wasn't something that, unless you're a huge fan of VR, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I'd just say play it the normal way.
Yeah.
Play it on PC, PS3, 360, on your Xbox, wherever you can play it.
You can play
it's
it
on everything. You play it on your Switch.
Yeah, it's on like 3 generations of console hardware at this point.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So that was number 7. You want to give us number 6, Daniel?
Yeah, I kind of do. So number 6 is Fallout New Vegas, which I just mentioned. Fallout 3 specifically, I'm going to talk about for a second. That was the first big true open world game I ever played. And it changed the way I thought about games completely. And for years, that's all I wanted to play, was these open world games. So when New Vegas came out, of course, I was all about it. And I love New Vegas. It's hard for me to say if I like it better than 3. Just because 3...
I think generally people like it better than
3. They do. But 3 is just like, it was the one for me, so I don't know. New Vegas was also the one, but it was like the second one.
I think a Fallout game had to be on this list. I think a number 6 spot it really makes sense.
Oh yeah. Fallout had to be here. Now, I wouldn't have agreed to do a podcast about it with no Fallout on the list.
Now, New Vegas is the only Fallout game that I played, but I have not played it all the way through. I played probably a little over half of it, and again, I just that's one that I didn't finish.
You didn't get hooked by the New California Republic?
I actually really liked the game, but I was playing it. I think it was when we first moved into our house. It was probably around 2013, and it was at your recommendation that I play it. I don't know when it came out. I think it had been out a couple of years at that point. I don't remember when Fallout New Vegas came out.
I don't either.
But yeah, it was fun. I just didn't finish it, But I did enjoy what was there. You looking it up when it came out?
2010.
2010. So it had been out at least 3 years by the time I got to it. Yeah, it seemed really cool, but I just didn't follow through on it. But it was.
It is super cool. And the thing with New Vegas that people like, I think, so much more than 3 is 3 was made, if I'm remembering this correctly, 3 was made entirely by Bethesda. And Fallout New Vegas brought back in Obsidian.
I think you're correct, yes.
And Obsidian had most of the employees that had worked on Fallout 1 and 2. So it was like a return to the same style of like writing and humor and choice-based mechanics and all that.
Visually, New Vegas is everything I've seen of Fallout 3. The visuals are much like
They're
dark. It's like super dark. It almost, And the New Vegas is much brighter.
Definitely.
Much more like, to me, much more inviting.
Oh, yeah. Fallout 3 is not inviting. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I just loved it, though.
But I've never played Fallout 3, so maybe if I gave it a shot, I would enjoy it more. All right, moving on. Number 5. Okay, this one is another one that is a little strange. Not because it's not a good game, but it's Elden Ring at number 5.
Yeah.
Now this is a brand new game, kind of like Forbidden West, in that it just seems a little odd to me at the top 10 of all. You're telling me that 2 of the best open world games of all time just happened to come out like this past week?
Yeah. Come on, IGN.
That's a little, I get that they're like
it's almost like they're trying to capitalize on like the current trend.
I wonder.
We've done a little bit of that ourselves.
So Elden Ring is the new From Software game, and everyone's playing it right now. It's like the biggest game right now. So I get and it's an open world game, and people are loving it. And even in our comments on our videos, we've heard time and time again about how it's an amazing open world game, and it does open world differently than other games. So
it absolutely does.
Now you're playing it, so give us your thoughts on it.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
Is it the 5th best open world game of all time? Maybe?
I don't know about that yet.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
maybe.
It's amazing. One thing that I think is so cool about it is it kind of goes back to like the brief amount of time I spent on Elder Scrolls Morrowind, which is the one before Oblivion. I never finished Morrowind, but when I tried to play it, I was like struck by how you had like no objective markers anywhere. It was just like, okay, some NPC would say like, go to this town and do this thing. And I'd be like, cool. And then I would just have no idea where that town was at all. And Elden Ring is that way. Like you'll run into an NPC and she'll be like, hey, you need to go here and do this thing. This person in this particular castle's doing this thing. And I'm like, that's horrible. But I don't know where it is. So
you want to give me a map or something?
And those NPCs, like I've done a little research on it, and they will like once you do certain things, you'll like find them in different locations, and then in the end, you can like get some really cool things from them. But it doesn't tell you any of that. Like there's no hand holding at all.
You've got to really immerse yourself in it.
Yes.
Like it's obviously it's a role playing game.
Yeah.
It's a role play. You got to really get into the role playing aspect.
Be in it. Yeah. And it is super good for that. It's super challenging. And I've never played any of the other Souls-likes. The only other From Software I played is Sekiro. And Sekiro's hard as nails. But with Elden Ring being an open world, you can kind of avoid some things if you would like to, or you can kind of be a little more creative about how you tackle
around
it. You can skirt around.
Yeah.
So it seems to be more forgiving than how people describe the other Souls-likes, which I don't think is a critique because it's still really hard and challenging and satisfying when you finally beat a boss. So I love Elden Ring.
But it's a little strange that it's here at number 5 just because, again, not that it's not great. It just hasn't been tested yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if people are really loving it right now, I mean, that's just kind of like when it's a trendy game and it's like the new thing, of course you're excited about it.
Right.
And it may continue to, we just don't know yet, and that's the thing.
We don't know.
Okay, moving on to number 4. You want to introduce number 4, Daniel?
Of course.
Let's do it.
Number 4, we got Red Dead Redemption 2, a game we both love.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I would be super, super sad if a Red Dead game wasn't on this list. Red Dead Redemption 2 is phenomenal. It does, like, I've gone back and completed it. Not completed. I finished the game twice. I did not complete it. There's so much to do. But I have played through the game twice. I'll probably do it at least another time or two before it's all over. I know that in a couple of years I'll be like itching to play Red Dead again.
Yeah.
That being said, I personally am a bigger fan of the first Red Dead Redemption game. I've played that one so many times. And the last time I did it, I didn't 100% it.
He didn't.
But I got really close.
He likes to say he did.
I did every mission. I did every side quest. I did every chance encounter. I did everything that you can do, except the only things I didn't do is I didn't unlock all of the outfits because they require like really, really like you have to collect hundreds of this herb. And it's like a bunch of just like very repetitive tasks that they're not fun.
You got to walk this many steps.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Towards the noon sun.
So I didn't like completely
right
100% it, you know. But I did everything that was like, you know, the game part of it. I did all of that. But I've also played Red Dead 1 multiple times through. It's one of my top, you know, few games of all time. So
yeah.
And Red Dead Redemption 2 is right there behind it. So
they're both of those games are just amazing.
But I can see how Red Dead Redemption 2 would make the list compared to Red Dead 1. I think Red Dead 2 is more probably more people like it in general, and it certainly won't age quite as poorly as Red Dead 1 did in terms of graphics.
No, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. Red Dead 1 is starting to show its age pretty bad.
Yeah.
We need a remaster of Red Dead 1.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh.
Did you ever play Red Dead Revolver?
No, I didn't. I know that's like technically in the Red Dead universe, but it's not like connected, right?
I rented it several times.
What's it for? Like original Xbox?
I played it on PS2, I guess.
So that same era.
Yeah, I loved it. That was super fun, but it was like a shooter, not on rails, but it was like linear.
Was that a Rockstar game? I guess.
I'm not even sure.
You're not sure.
I really don't know. I wasn't at that point. I wasn't really looking up developers and.
Let us know in the comments, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know what's up with Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, that game was super fun.
What do you know about it?
And you played as different characters, like based on certain missions. It was fun. But anyway, moving on to another Rockstar classic. Of course, this was going to be on the list. And in fact, at first I was kind of mad Red Dead 2 wasn't higher, being only number 4.
Yeah.
But looking at these top 3 games, it really couldn't have been.
This is where we don't have pretty much any disagreement for the list. This top couple are really, really great games.
Yeah, so number 3, we got GTA 5.
You know, you knew a Grand Theft Auto game was going to be there. And 5 is, I think it's the best one.
It's the one.
You know, like I have a lot of nostalgia for Vice City, and I like all the Grand Theft Auto games. I played all the 3D ones, and 5 is definitely of the highest quality. They kept getting better and better for the most part. And
now they're working on 6, and that gets me super hyped.
Dude.
So
yeah, 5 is phenomenal.
I love playing 5. I played it again. I mean, I played it when it first came out, but I mainly just played it the way me and my friends always played GTA, which was we just like pass the controller and just do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we had countless hours on it, but I never played the story until like maybe 2 years ago. I played it, and it's got a great story mode, you know, or story. It's the same mode, I guess. But you know, I haven't done any of the online, and I know that's big for them. But
I have a funny story about GTA 5. So when GTA 5 first came out, I actually have multiple funny stories about GTA 5. So my original GTA 5, when it came out, I was living. What year did this come out? I feel like this had to be the year that I left, that I was no longer living in my parents' house. I think I got maybe recently married, or maybe I just moved away.
2013.
Okay, so
September 2013.
September of 2013, right. So at this time I had been married for a few months, and me and Catherine were living in an apartment in a town away from where my parents were. And when we lived in that apartment, I didn't have my gaming console. I had a little brother who was living at home, and he had our Xbox 360 at the house. And this would have been a time before, well, we may have gotten an Xbox One. It doesn't matter. The Xbox was at my parents' house, and we lived in an apartment far away. So when GTA 5 came out, I would drive to my parents' house just to play GTA 5. And I played the game there. And then a couple years later, I wanted to play the game again, and Daniel had the game on Xbox 360, and I had gotten the Xbox 360 and brought it to my house because we had moved again. But I had the 360, and I said, "Hey, Daniel, because my brother wouldn't let me have his copy."
Yeah.
And so I said, Daniel said, "Oh, I'll let you borrow, or I'll give you my copy of Grand Theft Auto 5." And he gives me just the data disc and not the play disc, and he couldn't find the play disc.
Yeah. I think it got traded. I think it got traded to GameStop.
Oh, you traded?
Because I had done, some trades that I wish I had never done, but because I had a 360 die. I had it like Red Ring. And so I traded in like some games and maybe my old PS2. I traded in several things to like get the price of another 360 down. Mm-hmm. And I think that GTA 5 might have been one of those games. And I guess they just took it anyway.
I thought you told me back years and years ago when you gave me the data disc, but you didn't have the play disc. I thought you told me that you traded in a system and you were afraid that it was in
that could have been it.
The
drive
in the slot, and you forgot to take it out.
Could be. That could have been because they may have taken my Red Ringed 360 for something.
Maybe they did. Maybe they take it.
It may have been in there when it Red Ringed, and then they. I don't know. Who knows?
There's
man.
a conundrum.
It's been a long time ago. But
I was super excited to replay GTA 5, and Daniel was like, "Oh, here you go, man. You can just borrow mine," and I couldn't do it.
So I was trying to do a bro move.
So then I ended up having to buy it again later. I bought it a couple of years back and played it through again on PS4, which I was also borrowing from Daniel. Except
That's right. I could actually find that. Of course I could find my PS4. I still know where it is.
Yeah.
Randy actually took that thing apart and fixed a power button issue or an eject button issue.
Yeah. That's like a big problem on those PS4s, guys. Not to get like in the weeds.
And you never asked my permission to take that thing apart.
I never did.
You just told me one day, you were like, "Yeah, I took your PS4 apart and disabled the eject button." And I was like, okay, man.
I fixed it. For you. If I had like broken your PS4, I would have bought you one.
It was already pretty much broken, man.
All right, number 2. Let's move on. All right. Number 2 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Knew that was going to be on the list.
So good. Oh my gosh, guys.
And you had a unique experience with this one because you actually played it on Switch.
I did, which is, it's the full game. It's just graphic-wise, it's
I bet it's pretty janky.
It looks really bad on Switch. But here's the thing. The game is so good that I didn't even care. Like, the game is so good that I played through the Switch version. That was my first time playing the game. I didn't even care that it was, like, super hazy and the graphics were all low res. And, like, they did these silly things where they, like, the faces would be, like, full res versions, but then their whole bodies would be like way low poly and like it was, or I'm not low poly, but the textures were really bad everywhere else on their bodies. It looked weird and strange, but the game was just so good that I didn't care. It was so much fun. And now I like this game so much that we talked about this the other day. We talked about buying games multiple times. Mm-hmm. I like The Witcher 3 so much that I bought it again on PS4. Just so that I could play. If I ever wanted to play it again, I'd have the full experience.
Yeah.
And I haven't played it on there yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah. This is a game that it's on my bucket list basically. I played it a little when it first came out. Played it, several hours.
No, I've seen your PlayStation stats. You put in like 15, 20 hours on it.
Was it that many?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I put in more than I thought.
But the thing is, it's a very long
game.
game.
It's a massive game. And I liked what I played. I liked it quite a bit. I just, kind of like you, I guess, in New Vegas, I couldn't make the commitment at the time.
It's like, for me, I did both DLCs, and I have well over 100 hours, probably close to 200 hours on the game. Mm-hmm. It's a long one.
Yeah, and I know it's like objectively amazing, so I know I need to go back and play.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah. So Witcher 3 being number 2, I have no problems with that.
Now, guys, we've arrived at the number 1 spot, but we want you to pause the video, and we want you to think, what's going to be number 1? Because there's really only one choice.
Yeah, so let us know right now. Put what your prediction is for number 1. My guess is that you're probably going to get it right.
Yeah.
because we haven't talked about it yet. And this is the one, right?
This is the one.
This is the one. This is the game that got me back into gaming like really hard. You know, I played games very casually before this game, and then this is the one that brought me back, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, this is the game that made the Switch, for me, like really nailed it and brought it home for what it is.
And it was
really
a launch
made the Switch
game.
It was a launch game, even though it wasn't necessarily developed just for the Switch.
Yeah.
But might as well have been, because it's as synonymous with the Switch as anything.
And that's Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. It's so
You knew it.
You knew it.
You just
right?
typed that. I heard you.
It's this is the game that, like, you know, it so changed my mind on what open world games could be. You know, you talk about open world games that make you, you know, want to explore or, you know, want to see the world around you. Breath of the Wild does it so organically and without you even noticing. It just like gently pushes you in all these directions and encourages you in the best ways to explore and to see every inch of the map. I mean, if I could live in the world of Breath of the Wild, I would.
Bro.
It's that good.
That's not the place you want to be.
No, you
It's
guys know what I'm talking
post-calamity.
about. You know what I'm talking about.
My goodness. I think you want to live in like...
I'll take it, blood moon and all.
Ooh. Yeah, Breath of the Wild is amazing. I mean, we've been longtime Zelda fans, of course.
Yeah.
But 3D Zelda specifically for me. But Breath of the Wild just changes the game. I mean, literally changes the game. It's that climbing mechanic just opens everything up. The climbing and the paraglider.
You can climb everything.
It's so amazing. And you really do just want to see every inch of the map, because it's not like it's got everything. It's got the scary sections. It's got the really like cheerful, inviting sections. It's got great music. It's got great visuals.
You know, like there are other games out there where, you know, where there's so much stuff that you don't see, that you run across something new and interesting, but none of them is like makes you want to do it the way Breath of the Wild does.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild makes you, when you're playing the game, you really do, for some reason that you really can't even quite describe, it makes you want to explore. And I mean, no game I've played comes even close in terms of open world.
No, same here.
Breath of the Wild does it the best. And if you're a fan of any of the other games on this list, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild, you're missing out on the pinnacle of what these games all can be.
Yes.
Not that like Breath of the Wild is for everybody, because I could see how some people might not like it as much as some of these other games. But I'd say for most gamers, and certainly us, it's number one.
I mean, of course, nothing's for everybody.
Right.
But I will say, like, Breath of the Wild seems to be for more people than just about any game I've seen. Like, think about Catherine. You know,
Yeah, that's my wife.
she got obsessed with Breath of the Wild, was never a gamer.
No.
You know, got obsessed with it, put hundreds of hours on it. Think about Tatum, you know, one of my other friends that I used to work with. He and his wife got a Switch, and I kept telling him, dude, you got to buy Breath of the Wild. You got to buy Breath of the Wild. And I let him borrow my copy, and he played it, you know, beat it, all that. And then he moved, and I had to get that back, you know, because I can't let him take that thing.
Can't let him take Breath of the
And
Wild.
so he bought his own copy, and he's still playing it.
Right.
And he has gotten every Korok seed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
At one point, I wanted to get every Korok seed. I probably got like, you know, there's like 900 of them or something.
Like $9.99 or something, like some crazy number.
I don't know that it's
$9.99.
$9.99, but it's a bunch. And I got somewhere like a little over halfway and was like, gosh, it's such a task.
900 Korok seeds.
900. See, I was right. Okay.
You said $9.99.
No, I said 900 or something.
No, you said $9.99, and I said that's too many.
Daniel, you are trying to make up what happened. He's trying to flip it because that's what he said. Yeah, but it's such a cool game, and there's so much to do. And it literally is, you could just go. I know everyone says this about Breath of the Wild, but you could just go in a direction, and you're gonna find something that is really cool, something that is gonna be fun. And
one of those rare games where that's actually true.
Yeah.
People say that about a lot of games. It's true about Breath of the Wild.
Right, exactly.
You see something over there, there's something cool. There's 10 cool things between you and that thing that you're going to get sidetracked on. And by the time you get to that thing, it's cool too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Like so many games like have stuff like that, but Breath of the Wild is so like every area is so unique and memorable, and it's not just like a big world that kind of all looks and feels the same.
No.
It is all so different.
The regions are very diverse.
There's so much mystery and intrigue everywhere you go. It's just man,
You
I
just
can't
round
say-
a corner and you see like big glowing dragons in the sky, and then you're like, you don't know if it's friendly. You don't know if like.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Breath of the Wild.
What a game!
But that brings us to the end of that top 10 open world games. But we're not done because we have a poll that we did with you guys.
Yeah.
And the poll was, are you burned out on open world games? And I think that the results are pretty interesting because I know that at times I've been burned out on open world games. And
Same
I know,
here.
Daniel, you certainly have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the results were this.
Yeah. So we had 56% of the viewers say no with an exclamation point. We had 22% say yes, and then we had 22% say I'm not sure. So me personally, I would have been among the yeses, which is ironic because I'm playing Elden Ring. But that's because I've been burned out on open world games. I think I'm a little bit of a burned out on open world games hipster because I've been saying that for longer than it became
You've been
trendy
saying
to
it for
say.
years, yeah.
But I've been burned out on them so long, and I've been kind of almost actively avoiding them. Where when Elden Ring came out, I started thinking about it, and I was like, I think I could get excited about this again. So I'm almost like coming out of my burnt out phase, whereas everybody else is heading in. So I don't know.
Well, I mean,
if that
like we have
says-
22% of people say yes, so it's not like it's the majority. The
Well,
majority,
that's true. I just hear this more.
the majority of people say no, they're not burned out, and then
Yeah.
other people are unsure. So they're 22% of
commit.
people weren't like, I don't think I am, but I'm also not sure if I, they just weren't sure, and I get that too. Emotions are complex.
They sure are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got some comments on this. So, Celia, Celeria. There it
Celeria,
is.
that is Celeria. Celeria Rose.
Celeria Rose. She said yes and no.
Well,
I'm
that
burned
could,
out.
Celeria, is that a girl? Are you sure about this?
This person.
I was about to say, because this could be, Celeria is a very, I'm not familiar with that name, and
It reminds me of Cecilia.
that it does, but that doesn't mean we would be
She's
implying
breaking my heart.
this gender on this. All right, keep going.
She's shaking my confidence.
Celeria
daily.
Rose says what?
This person says yes and no. I'm burned out on the modern formula with super gigantic open worlds. They want you to play for hundreds of hours, but I'm all in for more focused open worlds that are big enough for what they need, but don't overstay their welcome. It's less the genre I'm tired of so much as the bloat that keeps coming with it. I'm convinced that I might have made an alternate account and written this myself
Right, yeah.
in my sleep.
It's the bloat, right? It's
Yeah.
the pointless quests. It's the repetitive quests where it's the same thing. Like you're doing basically the same quest over and over, but it just has different NPCs or
Yeah.
some small thing changed about it. But the games that I think of that come up is like Assassin's Creed.
Yes, I'm over that.
And those games can be good, but you can't argue that they're not bloated. They are bloated. And some people are cool with it because they enjoy the game so much that the bloat doesn't bother them. They just want more game to play. And I get that.
Yeah.
I that's like Valhalla. I really enjoyed that game, but it was way longer than it should have been. That game took me almost 100 hours to complete, and I would have enjoyed the game way more if it had only taken me 20.
Yeah. I mean, I played Valhalla for 15 hours, and I've said this before, I'm not sure I made it out of the tutorial.
You probably didn't.
That game is massive, and I love Vikings, but dang, I'm not down with that anymore.
It just has too much bloat.
Ubisoft, you got to chill. You got to chill. Speaking of Ubisoft, you want to check out our next comment from old Jerry Holbrook?
This is actually, this one says, I love open world games, but my first open world game was Far Cry 5. I loved it. I still do. So Far Cry, this person loves open worlds, and they start with Far Cry 5. Hey,
Yeah.
I've not played any of the Far Cry games. My brother has played them, and he loves them. Mm-hmm. I've watched him play Far Cry Primal, I think it was.
Yeah.
It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that one always looked cool, in the marketing material for it when it came out.
But I haven't tried it.
me neither. There's just too many games out there.
But I'm glad that people are liking them, man. I'm glad that...
Me too. I mean, I know 6 is out now. Isn't it 6?
Far Cry 6, yeah, that's the most recent one.
The one with Gus Fring. Gus Fring? Was that his name? From... you never finished Breaking Bad.
No, but I know okay, I know he's a character from Breaking Bad.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So next up we got a comment from Onyx77.
7-7.
And I did that by
7 Roman
converting
numerals. 7 Roman numerals, 7 traditional number.
So Onyx77 says, if I do get bored, I take a break for a while. Then I come right back and everything feels fresh.
That's what I try to do. I mean, a lot of open world games come out, right? If you just play open world games, you're going to get burned out. But I try to mix it up. And then when I do come across an open world game that I'm really interested in, it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's hard because so many games are open world games.
Yeah, it is. It is hard.
I'm sure they're the most, if you look at like the most financially successful games.
Oh, they got to be up there.
They got to be the majority.
It ain't exactly side scrollers anymore.
No.
I hear you, Cuphead. I do.
Yeah, so take a break. That's a great thing to do. So next, this is a Double Michael 99, a longtime commenter. Says, comments on a lot of our stuff. Thank you. I'm burned out of games with the same stealth takedown animations, but when you mix up special attacks like Marvel Spider-Man and God of War, I never know what to expect when I mix them up like karate.
Like karate.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Like, yeah, like if a game has a repeated takedown animation,
it gets old.
It gets old, and that's an older game. Like older games had technical limitations, and that happened a lot more.
Yeah,
a lot more. But nowadays, you don't see that as much.
You know, I can think of 2 really prominent examples that aren't super old at this point that that do this. One of them being Doom, and I know Doom is not open world, but a lot of those...
Doom just has a couple and it just repeats them over and over.
It does those over and over and over. And then the God of War remake also didn't have that many. Of the... I don't remember what that was called, but when you like brutalize, an enemy and rip him apart, like Kratos didn't have that many.
Well, I mean, this person's saying that God of War is a good example of games that don't do it. But I think God of War mixes up the combat so much that I never noticed that when I played it.
Well, you have to be going for those. Yeah. When you see somebody glow and you click the stick or whatever and you do the thing, you have to be doing that to see what I'm talking about.
You got to be doing that a lot.
Clearly, God of War has a ton of moves and combat options. I'm just talking specifically about those like animations. There weren't that many.
And God of War, the most recent one, it's not technically open world.
No.
It's like open world-ish.
Yeah, but it is one of my favorite games of all time.
They want you to like think that it's an open world, but like it has like a central hub, and then everything else on it is very prescribed paths that you have to take. So it's not like you can get there without taking the path they want you to take. So it's kind of like a semi-open world.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Marvel Spider-Man, so much fun. Oh my gosh. We already talked about it though.
All right. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of those comments, but...
there's some more.
Oh man, I just got to scroll.
You just got to scroll. So Heather Cook says, nope, loving Cyberpunk right now.
Ooh, a hot take.
Well, hey, I mean, Cyberpunk has gotten so many updates. This is a game that I'm super excited to play. I know I probably talked about it on the podcast before, but I'm going to play Cyberpunk. I bought it for $10, and I mean, for $10, it's worth the try.
For sure. I'm
gonna give it a go.
I'm excited to hear what you say about it.
I've been waiting for the next gen patch, so I know that it's like halfway decent, and I can play it on my PS5, and it looked really great, and hopefully run well. And from what I've heard, it's actually good now.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is. I mean, if you play it and you tell me it's the game we were told it would be, then I'll play it.
No, yeah, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you be the scapegoat.
That one is I said that the Phantom Pain, the Metal Gear Solid game was going to be my next one up. I said where it's one of the next ones up, but probably Cyberpunk will probably be the next one I play. But the thing is, I'm going from Forbidden West, which is an open world game, and be going into Cyberpunk, so hopefully I'm not burned out.
Right. I hope you're not, man. And then Leftover Pizza says that they're burnt out. Anyway, they're burnt out of crappy open world games that copy and paste 90% of their encounters. And yeah, we've talked about that.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, if the encounters are just the same thing over and over, it really gets old. It really gets old.
I feel you, Leftover Pizza.
So we're doing something a little different on the podcast today. You may have noticed if you're a listener of the podcast that we've changed the formula around a little bit. Instead of starting the episode with what we're playing right now, we're moving that to the end of the episode because we're trying to help in terms of retention.
Yeah.
And we figure that the people who make it to the end, you guys are the ones that are more interested in what we're playing right now, and maybe not people who are just coming to hear about the main topic.
Yep.
So that's why we moved the main topic to the beginning of the episode.
Totes.
And but we still want to talk about what we're playing right now, so we put it here at the end.
Yeah, and we've kind of talked about what I'm playing like as we went through this list and we've talked about what we're both playing, honestly.
Yeah,
but
you're playing Elden Ring.
I'm playing Elden Ring, and I'm loving Elden Ring. I'm going to play it when you leave today.
But that's it. Besides Sea of Thieves, which
That's
we
it.
stream.
Elden Ring, Sea of Thieves. That's all I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
We stream Sea of Thieves every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday over on Twitch. Come check us out.
8 p.m. Eastern.
That's right.
Yeah. So right now I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West. I've already talked about that. I'm still working through Half-Life Alyx, the VR game. So good, guys. If you have a VR headset, you got to play it. I know I always just talk about how good that game is, but it's phenomenal.
Almost spilled
I'm gonna be sad when it's over. Luckily, it's actually a pretty long game for VR. It's actually pretty decent and lean. Playing Fable 3 with Catherine right now. We're going to try to finish that game soon because Kirby and the Forgotten Land's coming out, and it has a co-op mode. So we're going to play that in co-op, so that'll be really fun.
That'll be fun.
And so we're going to try to finish Fable 3 by the time Kirby comes out. And then, let me think, I do believe, and Sea of Thieves. But I think that's it right now. Those are the 4 games I'm working on.
Always some Sea of Thieves.
Always.
Season 6 is out.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We've only played Sea of Thieves one time in the new season, but we think Season 6 is going to be pretty cool. So maybe we'll talk about that sometime. But if you're looking for a jumping on spot, we're in the new season.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yep.
So, guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thanks for watching me almost spill coffee on myself and listening to us talk about games. Been a good time.
Yep. Well, until next time, guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.